Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. Let me see, July 23rd. I'm filming here on Tuesday, July 22nd, here at the Fifth Dimension Radio Studios in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And Wednesday nights on Fifth Dimension Radio means 10 Cent Beer Night, the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com. I'm your host, Seth. Our co-host, Bob, he's doing something very, very important. He is recovering from surgery. We haven't heard back yet if he's out or what's doing, but his long-awaited knee surgery is officially going to be done. He's been putting it off for a while, and so it was time. So he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks here. And if you know Bob, I don't know how many listeners know him personally. This guy does not like to sit around. He's very active. He likes to do things. He's got multiple part-time jobs, of course, and he's got his horse racing. You hear him talk about Fritz Racing all the time, and so he was a little bummed about not just getting it. I mean, he was looking forward to getting it done, but he was a little bummed about the recovery. And I mean, I think he'll do fine. Bob's a fighter; he's a strong dude, but just the time of just doing nothing, you know. So, Bob, we wish you a very speedy recovery. We can't wait for you to get back here. By the time you get back here, we'll have a lot of football to talk about and a lot more of the second half of baseball well underway by then. We will have other special guests and stuff in the coming weeks to fill in for him. Today, it just worked out that it's just going to be me. So, there you go. So we left off last week here at Tested. Oh wait, first there's if I forget this, I will hate myself. Before we start pushing record and getting things set up, we got some disappointing breaking news in the non-sports world, in the music world. I want to dedicate this show to the legendary Ozzy Osbourne. He has officially passed away at the age of 76 from Parkinson's disease. We just found this out. For those that do not know, before 10 Cent Beer Night, I started internet radio on a heavy metal show, the Morning Metal Show, and then Sunday Bloody Sunday. So it's Sunday Bloody Sunday. The name for that show, it was a Sunday night show, was influenced by Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the Black Sabbath song. And, of course, that was Ozzy Osbourne. But Ozzy, I got to see him once back, I think it was 2018 it was. What a show. And I told myself to go just in case it was the last time he was ever in the area. And unfortunately it was. And a funny story I want to share, because everybody sees Ozzy as, this crazy lunatic that sings all these heavy rock and metal songs and everything. But he was also a funny guy. He was an entertainer and everything. Real quick story I want to share before we jump into sports. I know somebody, a good. He's a friend. It's not a close friend, but he's a good guy. We've hung out several times. We went to Indians games back in the day together and stuff. I haven't seen him in a while. He's busy raising his daughter and whatnot. He likes to meet celebrities, and he's one of those guys. He tracks them down. I know it sounds a little silly, but he is. Somebody tipped him off the morning after that concert, and they said, go to near Summit Lake. It's a small lake in Akron for anybody that knows, Springfield area. They said there is, for those that do not know, there is a airport there, a very small airport. And they said Ozzy's plane is going to land there, and he's going to jump on that plane and take back off. I forget if we were the last day on tour, he was heading out west, or he was heading back home. He was heading back to England. Actually, he probably still lived in California at the time. He said, go there and see if you can meet him and get an autograph and whatnot. And he says there was him and there was another guy in the airport. He didn't even know. He's from there too. Had no clue there was an airport here. And Ozzy, this limousine pulls up, and they're like, that's got to be him. That's gotta be Ozzy here. And he said it was the funniest thing. He said he did not get to talk to him. He did not get an autograph. He had albums and stuff ready to sign. He says the windows are tinted. They roll down, and he hears a laugh, and then the middle finger comes out of the window, and they drive away. And he said he was not hurt by it at all. He said that was the funniest damn thing he's ever seen, was Ozzy cracking up as giving him the middle finger, wasn't willing to sign anything, but he said it made his life that Ozzy acknowledged him and then was like, no way, man, and drove away. So that's just Ozzy for you. Some people are like, well, he couldn't sign. Well, you can understand, too, that the guy's autograph's worth a lot. He probably didn't sign a ton of stuff during his life. I mean, he probably did. He did and he didn't. Our good buddy Bill Fritz, Bob's brother, would tell you about autographs and what's worth more and what's not. Some legends are worth more because they didn't sign much. Some are worth not as much because they signed a lot. And music, it is a little bit worth more than sports. And then some legends like Jim Brown, for example, of the Cleveland Browns, his autograph's not worth much because he signed everything. He didn't care about the worth of his autograph. So it does differ. But Ozzy will miss you. And thank you for a lifetime of memories and music. There's a Jewish saying that says, you don't truly die until they stop talking about you. He may never die. That guy might live forever because everybody is going to be talking about Ozzy Osbourne somewhere in their lifetime. What a life and what an impact on people. And kind of a fun sports-related thing. He was in consideration for a while. It never happened to do the Super Bowl halftime show. And it got set up because he was either part or he got involvement with the New England Patriots for a minute, and he became a New England Patriots fan, and he would actually fly down to Foxborough and see games. And they said that they would give him a box. Of course, Robert Kraft would always give him a box, and he got one of the nicest seats in the house. And they said the servicemen and women loved serving him. He was extremely polite. He was so nice, and he loved the hot dogs in Gillette Stadium. Loved them. He said every time he fished one, he said, "Hey, dude, can you give me another hot dog? I really want another one." And he would just they said he averaged 3, 4, even 5 sometimes a game, because he loved those hot dogs so much. So, almost happened, didn't quite. I know there's been talks as far as rock and metal acts for the halftime show. Metallica's name is still on there. I think that would be cool, especially if they go back to San Francisco and host it there. But Ozzy, unfortunately, never got to host a Super Bowl halftime show. What a missed opportunity. And I get it. Not everybody's a rock or metal fan there, but you know what? Not everybody's a Michael Jackson fan. Not everybody is the Weeknd fan, a Dr. Dre fan. It's always been different in the Super Bowl halftime show because, it's mainstream. But come on, Ozzy, you don't even have to do Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath might be a little bit too scary for the crowd. I get it these days. But Ozzy had some tunes you could have jammed with at halftime and it made it work. But we'll miss him. We definitely will. Baseball. Had a great All-Star weekend. Cal Riley, the leader in home runs in the Major League Baseball for Seattle Mariners, won the Home Run Derby. I got to watch the Home Run Derby, a lot of fun. Junior Calmanero, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, of the Rays. The guy we were talking about last week, me and Bob, were that the Cleveland originally had him and traded him, and that trade continues to look worse and worse. And he got second place. He put on a great performance there. National League win the All-Star game and extra innings, and the extra innings was different this year. And I love this. For the All-Star game, I love this. It's just so they don't burn through bullpen pitchers and they call a game a tie like they did 15, it might be almost, I'm aging myself here, it might have been almost 20 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, where they had that tie in the All-Star game because they ran out of pitchers. But they have a new rule that started this year, and extra innings in the All-Star game, they have a home run derby off, where each side picks a player, and they have 3 outs, and they have to get as many home runs in that 3 outs, or they get 3 pitches, I forget, and as much as they can, in this case 3, they have to get more home runs than the other guy to win the game. I love this. It nationally when Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs right off the bat and delivered them to the win there. And there was talks. It was an opinion piece. There's not serious talks here. They were asking, should we bring that to the regular season? Absolutely not. Do you know how much problems that would cause, especially statistically in baseball? Imagine Cal Riley. He's in the last game of the season, he's got 71 home runs. Okay, he's going to fall two short of tying Bonds and 3 short of beating him. And they go extra innings, put Cal Riley in. He hits 3 home runs there. He beats the record, but again, those pitches were served up to him to hit a home run intentionally. That it wouldn't work. I mean, it was just an opinion. They were just asking. No. Okay, I can be flexible in the regular season, putting the guy on second to start the extra innings. All right. We've learned to like that, most of us. I didn't like it at first, but it's like, okay, in the playoffs, they go back to regular rules where it's a normal game. You don't get a runner on second. You have to earn it. I dig that. The runner on second in the regular season, it saves you bullpen arms, and it's statistically proven to do that. So that one's not too bad. I'm not... Me and Bob have discussed that, and we've learned to like that rule. Do not serve a mini home run derby in the middle of the season. No. Bad idea. Don't want anything to do with it. It's just not going to work. It's out of all the ideas, and Manfred's been making some good ideas this year. I'm not a fan of him, but he's done better in his decision making. And he's still debating some more interesting decisions. That's one that should not even be considered. And again, it was an opinion piece, but for the All-Star game, I love it. I do. But great All-Star week overall. The Guardians sitting in second place currently, 49-50. They're playing well. When they came back from All-Star break, they won the series, took 2 out of 3 against the A's in Cleveland. That one went well. They had the one game they lost 8-2. They came back in the next game and won 8-2. They scored at least 8 runs in their wins against the A's, so that was good. Last night, and again, by the time you hear this Tuesday night's game, and even maybe in Wednesday's game will be done, but they beat the Orioles 10-5. Orioles have been playing very well of late, so that's good. That's a good thing for the Guards there. They finished out their series against the Orioles on Thursday. MLB Network will pick up the game for the Thursday afternoon game. And then this weekend, they're going to be at Kansas City. That's going to be a test. Kansas City currently third, 1 game behind the Guards in the division. So Royals want to take advantage and bring them down a notch. Ending the month of July, and I can't believe I'm already saying that, but here we are. They come back home and they're playing the lowly Rockies. Okay, that one they should win without issue. I heard an interesting stat, speaking of the Rockies here, and for people that don't know, the Rockies are the worst team in baseball. They have not even won 30 games. We're wrapping up July soon. The team has not won 30 games. It's bad. However, and this is interesting, the Denver, Colorado Rockies are in one of the top half teams in attendance. Absolutely blowing out the Guards, who are in the bottom. I mean, Guards are bottom 4 or 5 team in attendance right now. Rockies are even beating the Red Hot Tigers in attendance, believe it or not. And I bring this all up because an interesting report came out this past week, because Guards are getting some attention. Despite their okay season, it's not been bad, it's not been good. There's actually been a lot more good than bad. Despite the weird season they're having, they're getting news in other places. Of course, unless you weren't paying attention, Sunday, the president called them out, bringing back the original name. For those that haven't been listening to the show or paying attention hardcore like I do, there have been members inside and a little bit outside the organization, but in their respective leagues, in both Washington and Cleveland, about bringing the tribal names back. There's some stuff in the works. Dan Quinn, of the head coach of the Commanders, is pushing hard to bring the Redskins name back. You have members of the front office of Washington that have said it too. The issue is they got new ownership, and new ownership is not sold on the idea right now. They're not. Yes and no. They brought back retro uniforms of what the Redskins had this year. So they've taken steps of hinting, well, we're thinking about it, you know. As far as Cleveland goes, there was a conversation with Rob Manfred and the Dolans earlier this year regarding the Chief Wahoo logo and bringing it back. And then, I mentioned about a month ago, I was on air. I mentioned Lids Corporate had told some employees in other places that weren't Ohio that they had a new shipment of Chief Wahoo hats coming in and expect the Indians name to come back. So there's been talks, but hopefully the president bringing it up out of nowhere didn't pull it back. I did see there's some pro Native American groups that are resuming or pushing for more conversations to make it happen. You're going to hear more and more about this, people. I know me and Bob have talked about it every other show, and some people are like, oh, are you going to get over it? No, I'm not getting over it. They lied about the reasons they did it. They lied about the history of the name. They lied about the history of the logos, too. Okay? I don't sit here and take lies like that. You know, if it was harmful and they backed it up with facts, we have a whole different conversation. But if you got to lie to make your point, no. I'm not going to sit here and just take it, you know. And that was the team name and logo I loved. There was a lot of good history behind all of it. And they sat there and just said, no, we'll tell you what people that aren't fans want to hear. Well, now you see the results of the attendance ratings. Cleveland has downsized their stadium, and they can't beat a under 30 win team in the Colorado Rockies in attendance. Just saying. They went to the ALCS last year. And that was the other point I was going to bring up. There was an interesting report. A Major League Baseball executive was saying that Paul Dolan, the owner of the Cleveland Guardians, is being looked at as the owner in Major League Baseball that doesn't care about winning. And he says it's coming from the lack and weird moves that were made in the offseason after being eliminated in the ALCS. Because teams normally, when they go to the ALCS, they said, and lose, they go, we were so close. What can we do to get to the World Series? What moves can we make to take the next step forward? So it looks like, hey, we're legit trying to improve the team so that we can win a World Series. And their moves said the opposite. They said, we're going to rebuild in some way or form. We still want to win, but we're going to trade away key pieces and get younger pieces back. And it doesn't look like we're a win-now team. We'll win in 2 years type team. And they said that teams are baffled by the moves that the Dolans have made and how their defense for these moves just does not add up to what other teams do. You know, so it's weird. I gotta take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more baseball, and then we're hearing some more stuff about the Cavaliers we should bring up. That and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night here on FitzPatrickRadio.com. In Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Beautiful day today on a Tuesday. We're actually supposed to have great weather up until the weekend, unfortunately. That's when the storms are supposed to hit, but no, it's supposed to be great. So, I don't have the Rubber Duck schedule in front of me, but if your local minor league team or major league team, or you got a kid in a recreational team or something is playing, definitely, especially if you got a kid playing, definitely go out and watch a game this week if you're in the area. If you're in another area and it's supposed to be beautiful, do the same thing. Do yourself a favor and just get out of the house and enjoy a good ball game there. Just me today, Seth. We were talking about the guards and their situation because we're approaching trade deadline. Not 100% sure what they're going to do, if they're going to be sellers or buyers. There's a lot of logic with both, but I mean, if you're the Dolans and you're looking to get more people in the seats, you got to be buyers, right? You got to be buyers. I heard an interesting trade rumor, And this one makes a lot of sense. Jarren Duran of the Red Sox name has been around a lot for the guards. Okay, now Duran here, he's an almost everyday start. 257 average, 9 home runs, 51 RBIs, a lot of power, good bat. The thing is, Red Sox are loaded in the outfield right now. And he's kind of the odd man out. There's the other three guys they prefer to put on the field. And I heard an interesting rumor, because I guess Emmanuel Clase, the closer of the guards, they're playing with the idea of throwing his name out there, see what they can get for him. I don't think it's the greatest idea, but this was a situation where they said if they did it, it's a win-win. Okay? Red Sox are looking to blossom their bullpen a bit. Getting Clase to be their new closer makes a lot of sense. He said, the CBS analyst had said, straight up, Clase for Duran. Because guards could use another power-hitting outfielder. They said there's been a lot of interest in Cleveland for him. And they said Red Sox would love to have Clase, especially if they make the postseason. That's something to look out for. Some names I've heard, they brought up Carlos Santana. They brought him here to retire here, too. They like him in the locker room. I don't see it happening. He's one and done. He's going to retire at the end of the year. It's pretty much a done deal there. They need starting pitching. I did see Shane Bieber's rehabbing pretty well now. He's soon going to be with the minors. He's been in Goodyear, Arizona. Bazana, I think, is on his way back to Akron, the first overall pick. I don't expect him to come up to the majors this year with the setback of the injury. I think had he not got hurt and continued to progress, that conversation would be on the table. I don't think so anymore, But the question is, is what the guards going to do trade-wise going to be good enough? And I bring it up because, this team's not good at spending money. They haven't done well on most of their trades of late. They really haven't. I could sit here and do a whole show on the failed trades. There's some good trades. There's some bad trades. There's a lot of bad trades in the Chris Enonetti era. This isn't Kobe Altman, who just got an extension with the Cavaliers, who in most of his moves made a lot of sense, and they really, really thrived on what he did. Enonetti has made a lot of mistakes, especially in the draft. That's where, that's what made this past draft so interesting. If you listen to last week's show with me and Bob, they had a ton more position players taken in the first 12 rounds than they've had in years. They've been a pitching first team. And this year they were like, let's get some bats in there, okay? So you look at last year's they traded for Lane Thomas. The jury's still out there in that one, okay? And I think if Lane can stay healthy, that's the debate. When he's been healthy, he's been good. He was great in the postseason last year. He was excellent in the postseason last year. But he hasn't stayed healthy this year. He can't stay on the field. So there isn't a good sample size comparison to say if that trade has been good a year out yet. Okay. So, but the Duran trade, again, they're not hitting for average here, but the guy's got a lot of power. All right. You look at what they traded away in the offseason. Josh Naylor. Naylor fell just short of being an all-star. I think he should have been. The numbers were there. He's hitting over 300. He's hitting the ball over the fence. He is one of the top trade deadline pieces in the coming week. All right? And they're talking about whoever trades for him might want to extend him. He's on contract year this year. Okay? There has been some guard fan rumors, and these are the fans. There's no incriminating evidence about this, that he was so happy in Cleveland they should trade back for him. But I don't see that happening. You look at another name. We brought this up a couple weeks ago when they did the trade. They did a three-way trade between the Pirates and the Blue Jays, sending Andres Jimenez to the Blue Jays. They got a guy named Ernie Clement from the Pirates, flipped him to the Blue Jays in that deal. Okay, Clement is playing about second base with the Blue Jays, who, by the way, I'll get my updated standings here. I believe they're still in first place. Yes, they're 4 games ahead of the Yankees in first place. He's hitting .284. Sounds like that should have been your starting second baseman for this season. Okay. I think if I'm the guards, I roll the dice. I don't make one move, I make at least 3 moves. And some people are like, why 3? Because it makes it look like you're really trying. And I would get 3 guys, potentially long term, by the way. I would trade some prospects you've had for a while, you haven't heard from. And like your George Valera. Yeah, there's a couple more in there. I would have to look down the list here. I wouldn't trade that first round pick they're trying to bring up. I would even consider trading Christmas, believe it or not. Okay? And some people are like, well, Seth, you were just complaining about Caminero. I mean, is this the same thing? No, in this situation, you get somebody that's proven themselves. They trade Caminero for a minor league pitcher, starting pitcher, that was on his way up to being in the majors, did not prove himself yet, and then when it came time, just fell flat on his face. I know it's a tough league. I'm not making fun of the guy. He became closer to a pro ball player than I did. Actually, he did play pro ball. But I'm talking about guys like this Duran and a starting pitcher that has some overall good numbers, good history, good attributes, whatever you want to call it. Just make it look like you're taking a chance, and worst case scenario, if you don't make it, you still have these guys at the end of the day. Long-term investment here, okay? And because the small ball, this money ball, it's not working. You got to spend some money, and when they have spent money, and I know they're probably going to spend money with the Quan extension. We haven't heard it yet, but as they continue to wait longer, his worth gets higher. He just made another All-Star team. It's his 3rd All-Star team. The guy is going to ask for more now, okay? You put this on yourself. And they're trapped right now. They're trapped in it, and they put this on if they were a normal team, like I would even say if they were any other Cleveland team, okay? The Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert in the NBA have the reputation, if you're good and you make sense, we will pay you. You will get paid your worth. That's a great reputation to have. Jimmy Haslam will shovel out money even for players that don't make sense. But he pays up. They're both small market. They're in the same market. Small market. They play less games than these teams do. And I know baseball's a different situation, but you got to spend money to make money. That is the old saying in business. Okay? If years ago, and we're talking about 2018 here, Cleveland got into a serious conversation about sending Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie to rent out Bryce Harper. They weren't going to retain him. He was on contract year. Okay? There's the win and the loss factor there because he was going to ask for a lot of money, so he's probably not going to stay. But if you bring Bryce Harper to Cleveland the last 2.5 months of the season, oh my gosh, dude. Not only, now that year, Houston cheated and beat him in the playoffs by cheating and sign stealing and everything. But take away the reality there. The other part of the reality is look at how much money you're making on Bryce Harper memorabilia, Bryce Harper jerseys. People are getting Bryce Harper, are going to Lids and getting Bryce Harper engraved autographs on their Chief Wahoo hats. Disgusting amounts of money would have been made. And that's the idea here. And I'll be honest, that was potentially the logic why Jimmy Haslam wanted the Browns to go get Johnny Manziel and Shedeur Sanders. He knew the jerseys were flying off the shelf. Shedeur Sanders, low risk, high reward if he works out. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the jerseys are already flying off the shelves. Who's the top selling Cleveland Browns jersey right now? It's probably Shedeur Sanders. The top selling rookie jersey right now, if it's not Shedeur's in the top 3. All right, the money is flying off the it's one of those tactics. If you're an owner, you're showing you're making an effort here. You're showing, hey, we're willing to invest into something that could be long term, that could be electric for the environment. Okay, because if you're Jimmy Haslam, you're sitting there, we got a new stadium in the works. We got a prized young rookie. We got our old fan favorite veteran quarterback back. We got Myles Garrett resigned. The money is coming, and we don't even know if we're going to be good yet. Oh, my goodness. If you're Dan Gilbert, okay, We're a great team. We're favored to win the East next year. We signed all our top players to long-term deals. Evan Mobley is the most sold Cavs kids jersey in for the franchise right now. The kids are looking up to Evan Mobley. They're going, Evan Mobley, that's our star. They're going to grow up talking about, when I was growing up, the star for the Cavs was Evan Mobley. We had Donovan Mitchell, but Evan Mobley he was the tall guy that blocked all the defensive player of the year. They're going to be talking about it. Then you bring in a fan favorite like Larry Nance. Then you bring in a league player like Lonzo Ball. And the money is coming in, okay? If you're the Guardians, well, they're buying Jose Ramirez. They're buying Chief Wahoo hats at the stadium, and that's a fact. Dude, they're not buying anything else. This has been a tough sell, man. Go out and get them excited in some way. Win ball games. Make business. I heard a crazy statistic this morning, and I believe it because I have him on a fantasy team. Paul Skeens, star pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, has a losing record with the starting pitcher for the National League because he's the best pitcher in the National League despite the record. Do you know what his record would be if he had average run support? Average. We're talking 3, maybe 4 runs a game. I'm not even joking. Not much. We're not talking much, folks. 29-1 before July is over. I'll repeat, he could have had the most historic season in Major League Baseball history. He would have been 29-1. He would have been threatening to win 40 games this year. That is insane. But what are the Pirates missing? Bats. What are the Guardians missing? Bats. The Reds, they have bats not just in the majors, but in the minors. The AAA team is the Louisville Bats. Haha. There's a Bob joke for you. I don't know if he's going to hear this one. But that's the thing. I mean, this isn't rocket science here. And if your prospects are that good, call them up. Tell them, guys, we promise you this, and you shouldn't promise this, but this is the next Manny Ramirez we're calling up. This is the next Albert Bell we're calling up. Aaron Judge, his biggest threat is getting called up as far as home runs go. You like Cal O'Reilly, wait until you see what we have. You know, give them Chase Lautner. That's what they've been calling. Just do it. I mean, the guy's hitting the ball well. He's hitting the ball well in AAA. This isn't like the guy's hitting 186. He happens to have 12 home runs. No, he wouldn't be getting the hype he's getting with those numbers. Call him up. Just do it. Get Nike to sponsor you. Just do it. You know, so the guards, oh my gosh. It's a mess. It's a mess here. So you got Tigers on top of the American League with 60 wins. Real quick to run through the standings. Blue Jays on top of the East. Yankees 4 games behind them. Red Sox 6 games behind them. Rays had a weird week last week. They're 7.5 games behind them. Orioles are 14.5 games behind them. In the Central, Guards are 10 games behind the Tigers. Royals are 11. Twins are 11.5. White Sox are 24. White Sox season's over. Astros are 58 and 42. They're ahead of the West right now. 5 games behind them are the Mariners. 7.5 games behind them are the Rangers. Angels are 9 games behind them. Angels are not bad. Not bad. A's are 42 and 60. They're 17 games behind them. I thought it would be worse, honestly. In the National League East, Phillies 57 wins, 43 losses. Mets 57 wins, 44 losses, so they're a half game behind them. Marlins are 10.5 games behind the Phillies, but they're batting well. I say that every week, and I mean it. That team knows how to hit the baseball. Braves are 12.5 games back. Nationals are 17 games back, and it's getting worse and worse. So in the Central, the Brewers are the number 1 team in the Central, 60-40. A game behind them are the Cubs at 59-41. Brewers swept the Dodgers over the weekend, by the way. Cardinals, 52-49, are 8.5 games behind them, and so are the Reds. Same thing, record and everything. Cardinals are playing better than I thought they were. Reds are about where I thought they would be. Maybe a little better I thought they had, but that's okay. Pirates are 40-61, 20.5 games back first, and that their season's over. Okay. Dodgers 59-42. You couldn't tell by how they've been playing of recent. I mean, they've been getting beat up. They did beat the Twins last night. I don't know how they're going to... I'm filming on Tuesday, so I don't know how they're going to look today. But Dodgers, the pitching injury woes have hurt them. However, getting Tyler Glasnow has been a breath of fresh air. 3.5 games behind them are the Padres. 7 games behind them are the Giants. 9 games behind them are the Diamondbacks. We'll see if the Diamondbacks can turn course. And then I mentioned Rockies have not won 30 games. They're 24-76. 34.5 games back from the Dodgers. In the wild card right now, if it all ended, Guards would be 6th place in the wild card. They would miss the wild card by 3.5 games. Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox lead the wild card right now. For the National League, Cubs, Mets, and Padres lead the wild card. It gives you just a gist of how it's looking right now. So, Major League Baseball trade deadline. It's one, if not the biggest trade deadline in all sports. I would say next to the NBA. NFL's trade deadline's a little overrated. They really don't do much. They move some certain contract year contracts for draft picks or something. And then, like, you got Jamie Collins years ago going to the Cleveland Browns. He went to bed on a 8-1 Patriots team just to wake up for his agent to say, you're going to the 0-9 Browns. That was funny. When that happened. But, yeah, I mean, it is a big deal in Major League Baseball, and it makes or breaks the teams. It really does. And we've seen teams make a lot of moves and break them. We've seen teams make a lot of moves and win the World Series. We've seen some teams make 1 or 2 moves, and it was a huge impact. We've seen teams make 1 or 2 moves, and it meant nothing. So, there you have it. I got to take a break. When we come back, we will talk Cavs. We'll talk a little Browns. We'll talk a little everything else. Stay tuned. And welcome back to our last segment here of 10 Cent Beer Night here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. Thank you guys for tuning in, seriously. Really appreciate it. Want to remind everybody, because we are entering football season. I mean, it is here. Like, the NFL's in training camp. Not this week. Next week is going to be the Hall of Fame game. We're already at that time period. That Fifth Dimension Radio every Friday for the high school football season will be covering a game here in Northeast Ohio. Schedule's good. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but if you go to the Fifth Dimension Radio page, I don't think the website's got it up yet, but the Facebook's got it somewhere. They've been posting there. We will have one of the announcers come in and fill in for Bob while he's recovering from his surgery in the coming weeks. I think it might be next week. I think next week he's coming in, and we've had him before. And forgive me, his name is slipping my mind. Ron Whitmer. Of course, thank you, Bob. Producer Bob was telling me. Ron Whitmer, he might come in next, if not next week, it's the following week, but he's expected to return as a fill-in co-host for one of these days. And, he's got a lot to talk about, so we're looking forward to that conversation. Cleveland Browns, it is what you've heard, okay? The quarterback situation, we have 5 quarterbacks in the room. Yes, Deshaun Watson is still a thing somewhere there. I don't know how that's working out, but he's there. He's trying to play. He wants to play. I don't know if he's healthy enough to play. If he's healthy enough to play, how that's going to work, because they can't put him on IR. So they have to pay him. The whole thing's a mess. The whole thing. Quinshon Judkins is not with the team still. He's still not under contract yet. I do have to say, more details have come out of the situation. Me and Bob might be wrong, rolling our eyes about that. There may have been more truth to it. At the same time, it makes you wonder. There's always another side of the story. I'm not saying he's innocent because he's a Brown or he's a Buckeye. I'm just saying we've heard these things before. The Trevor Bauer situation is a prime example. All right, that guy, his life was ruined for a couple years. And then it comes out he did nothing wrong. So we got to watch out with this. It's weird. It's weird. At the end of the day, I just hope the right thing is done. And if it means suspending him, great. Do what you got to do. This is going to impact fantasy drafts and dynasty drafts for sure. Dynasty drafts, sorry. Our league, in one of my leagues, is Dynasty. So that's why I said that. So dynasty drafts, yeah, absolutely. Because Quinshon Judkins is a top 3 pick in those rookie drafts. And if he's suspended, that's going to definitely impact his value there. It's going to be interesting there. So Chargers and Lions next week in Canton. We'll talk about that a little bit more next week. We'll be able to have at least a show before then. Going on to the Cavaliers, there hasn't been a ton of news. As far as the LeBron talks go, it's come out. LeBron did not ask for a buyout or trade. He's going to go into Lakers camp soon. I stand with my original prediction. If there is a buyout of some sort, okay, that it happens after the trade deadline. Okay, when the Lakers said, hey, we did what we could do or we couldn't get anything going, and that gives LeBron an excuse to say, okay, buy me out. I'm going back to it. It would be Cleveland. I don't see another team. I don't see him jumping on OKC. I don't see him going to the Mavericks name was brought up, but I don't see that happening. I don't see the Heat. He brought up the Heat. I don't see where they're getting that. Cleveland situation is so much more appealing. There are some interesting tidbits as far as what they're doing. I mean, trade talks are not done with Cleveland, and free agency signings not done with Cleveland. Interesting report came out yesterday. They put Dean Wade on the trade block a while ago. You heard Bob, and he was a little bit like, oh, my dude, Dean Wade, they can't trade him, but yes, they can. Because look, I don't hate Dean. I like Dean Wade. He's got a great story. He loves it here, but he's on contract year 1. 2, the argument I've made about trading Dean Wade is, okay, yeah, but he's got a great stature, a great body for defense, rebounding, and he's got that 3-point shot. The issue is he's consistently in the same funk that Cedi Osman and Isaac Okoro were. They start off the regular season red hot, both sides of the floor. They're playing defense well. They're hitting shots from anywhere. They are being a key player, and we're talking like the first 15 games. This is one of the guys that's making it happen. Then there's an injury, a nagging injury, not a major injury, but they'll be out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay. And that's a month of the game. All right. Then they rehab, they come back, they play a few games, they're trying to get back in the rhythm, then they tweak something. Now they're back out for another 2 to 3 weeks. Then they come back and they're not the same player. And you look at the past 3 years, this has been the story. And it's been the story with Dean. I mean, he was an automatic. J.B. Bickerstaff both and Kenny Atkinson. Got to start him. This guy makes too much sense to start. Start him now. They picked Dean Wade over Kevin Love, which was one of the reasons Kevin Love wanted to leave. Okay? And now when we need Dean Wade the most in the playoffs, especially against a team like the Pacers, didn't really do much. So, all things considered, we got to find some consistency. We got to find the depth. We got to find the guy that we look to on the bench and say, you're going in because we know what you're capable of doing every time out. They're not going to make every shot. They're not going to block every shot. They're not going to they're not going to defend great every time. But you got guys like DeAndre Hunter. You got guys like I'm trying to think of another example here. That was with the team last year because they got rid of some guys too. You got I don't want to say Max Strus because he's a starter most games. Ty Jerome's gone too. Yeah, so they start thinning out there. When they had JaVale McGee, I'm throwing examples out of my butt right now. Guys that they put in and they said, we know what you're capable of doing every time you go on the floor. Okay. And that's part of the reason why they got Lonzo Ball and Larry Nance also, because it's that attitude, both sides of the floor. You're consistently good when you do play, and that's the thing, is when you do play is the key words there, because they get injured. Another guy Cavs are looking at and they're being serious of, they watched his he had a tryout for in front of a bunch of teams. Victor Oladipo, former 3rd overall pick, that was with the Indiana Pacers. He was he was the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then he was traded from He was with the Magic there too, I think. Traded to OKC to Indiana for Paul George, him and Sabonis at the time. Okay, and then he played for Houston there for a minute. Oladipo, he reminded me a lot like Luol Deng, for anybody that remembers. Luol Deng was with the Cavs briefly, and it didn't go. He was on contract year. It didn't work out well. But when he was at his prime with the Bulls, this was not just a three. This was an offensive and defensive. This was a two-way. I won't say star, but was a solid role player. Every team in the league wanted a guy like Victor Oladipo and Luol Deng, okay? They could hit a shot from almost anywhere. They could drive to the basket well. They had a solid body on them. I mean, they weren't too small. They weren't too big, even though too big is not bad in the NBA. But they could drive through the lane and take a hit if they needed to, and their defense was grade A. And Oladipo's he took a year off last year. He's trying to make an NBA comeback, so he's not far off. This isn't like Johnny Manziel's trying to make an NFL comeback, supposedly. It's a little too late for Johnny, okay? 32 years old, you've been out for a while. It doesn't make sense, okay? Oladipo, it makes sense here. Cavs are because they can get him cheap, too. He's not going to ask for an arm and a leg. He wants a chance, and they could bring him in. Okay, those are guys that make sense. Because here's what I'm looking at the outlook of the Cavs. Okay, right now everything's good. They are the favorite in the East right now, because Celtics and Pacers had injuries and they lost their rosters are much different. They lost key players from free agency or trades. All right. So you're like, okay, what's the other team that the Cavs got to worry about? Well, it's those damn New York Knicks that we had eliminate them a couple of years ago, okay? So I'm thinking one of the hardest things for the Cavs was guarding Jalen Brunson, except when they put Isaac Okoro on him, things got a little better. It wasn't perfect, but it was better, okay? You couldn't put Garland on him. You couldn't put Osman on him. For some reason, Bickerstaff kept putting Osman on him. I don't understand that one. But how do you guard Jalen Brunson? If you have Lonzo Ball or Victor Oladipo on him, problem solved. I'm not going to say he's going to be completely shut down, but your life just got a little bit easier there, okay? You look at other teams in the East there. The 76ers might come back. You got Maxey there. Who's going to guard him? Again, you put an Oladipo or Ball on him, things are going to get a little easier. So I could do a rundown in the East. But also, another guy you bring up is if they make the finals and have to go against SGA, Shane Gilgeous-Alexander, which is right now the top player in the league. He just won the finals. He just won the MVP award. The guy's, 6'6", 6'7" point guard? Cavs had an opportunity to draft him and didn't. You got to have somebody that's going to be able to guard him. It is part of the reason why they're working with Darius Garland on his defense, and it is part of the reason why they let Ty Jerome go, okay? They need somebody that can excel on both sides of the court there. Ty Jerome just was not doing it defensively, and he disappeared offensively against the Pacers. And I liked it. I was all for bringing him back, but I understand the logic here. You got to do what you got to do. And in reality, Ty Jerome had one good season in his career, and it was last year. One good season. That was it. Well, he's not even guaranteed to repeat what he did last year. Okay, so that's about where the Cavs are. Oh, and I was bringing up the Dean Wade thing, and I got away from it. Okay, report came out yesterday that the Houston Rockets had an offer to the Cavs before the draft. A trade to get Dean Wade. And in the trade, they were going to get Dean Wade and offer him a $54 million contract extension. Yes, they were going to offer him that. They valued him that much. Cavs turned it down, and it's making us wonder, okay, Dean Wade's still in the trade block, but his value might be even more than what we thought. All right. By the way, Rockets used that money to get Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay. And that was a guy the Cavs wanted for years and couldn't get. And that shows you Dean Wade's value. They were on a Dean Wade over Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay. That's how much value Houston. That's how much Houston valued Dean Wade. Excuse me. There was a couple tweets, more than a couple, that were coming around the summer league saying Cavs and Mavericks were striking a deal on a game-changing trade. No details, okay? And it makes you wonder, like, what's the trade? Because Mavericks, they just got Cooper Flagg. They trade away Doncic for Anthony Davis and other pieces. They do have Kyrie. Is it Kyrie? Like, are we crazy to think that Kyrie can make a return to Cleveland? And I'm starting to believe some of it, the reports were over-exaggerated, but they are saying Mavericks really, really want Dean Wade. And the game-changing trade, maybe Mavericks threw down some picks on the table and said, look, if you're willing to take these in, we'll work out a deal to get Dean Wade in here, okay? So, what they're going to get back from it, if they're going to trade him at all, remains to be seen. Summer League did wrap up for the Cavs. I know that they're serious about giving Jalen Tyson some more work. I'm all for it. I think the Jalen Tyson pick is criminally underrated, and I think he could be a great player off the bench. I see an Andre Iguodala type player with him. I even told some friends, I see him being another DeAndre Hunter. They already have DeAndre Hunter on their team. I see him being that type of player. The guy that moves the ball down the court well, the guy that has a good three-point shot and can defend very, very. Jalen Tyson's defense is criminally underrated. Watch film on him last year of how he defends and reads offensive players on defense. I was watching him guard LeBron James against the Lakers one game, and I was impressed of how well he read LeBron, how he didn't let LeBron cut right through him like LeBron's done millions of times. And here's this rookie go up against LeBron, and he knew how to read and handle LeBron. It was impressive. Okay, so Jalen Tyson's going to get some more reps. They're talking about Tomlin, the guy that's under a two-way contract on their team, getting some more reps as well. All in all, it's going to be interesting to see what the Cavs rotation is, excuse me. Look at, again, me and Bob briefly mentioned this last week. Look at how well Enrique Freeman and Chris Livingston ended their summer leagues. And for those that don't know who they are, Enrique Freeman played for the Akron Zips, and he plays for the Indiana Pacers now. And Chris Livingston grew up here in Akron, Ohio, played for Buchtel High School his freshman and sophomore year of high school. And he's with the Bucks now. Livingston averaged about 23 points a game. Bucks are saying he'll get more reps. Freeman averaged a double. We're talking 18 points, 10 rebounds a game. And they're talking about him getting more reps in Indiana, too. So Summer League can give you hints of what's to come. It really can. Cavs Summer League schedule is done. They didn't quite make it. But all in all, they played very, very well. Even with everything wrapping up the way it did. The rookie Terrence Proctor, oh my gosh, that three-point shot. Nasty. And I do. They said he's going to be on the team. He's not going to have a two-way contract. He's not going to go to the G League. But I don't know if he's going to get how many reps he's going to get out of the gate right away. Probably not a lot, I would guess. They're probably going to wait. And if there's games where they're absolutely torturing them or desperate for a three-point shot, then they put him in. But I think for the most part, this Cavs team is ready as is. I'm just for getting another big man. Okay, I like the Larry Nance pickup. I think there's a lot of good there. I think he'll get more playing time than people think as long as he stays healthy. But at the end of the day, that's, again, the big if he stays healthy. You need a good, reliable big man under the basket to back up Allen and Mobley and to stand by Allen and Mobley when one needs a break. Okay, it just makes life 10 times easier, especially in the playoffs when you need key rebounds or to make sure that you give them a tough shot driving to the basket. And one of the guys that's a free agent right now, I don't know what he wants. Thomas Bryant, who was with the Pacers, who played the Cavs very well, the center, he's available. That might be a guy you might want off your bench. Decent offense, but great defense and great at rebounding. It makes a lot of sense here. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Seriously, next week on 10 Cent Beer Night, we'll see if we'll get a guest in here or not. But either way, enjoy your summer while you still have it. I know back to school stuff's back and then people are thinking football, but we still have beautiful weather. Go to a ball game. Go to training. Some training camps are open for the public, so go to training camp. Enjoy yourself and be good to each other. Treat people how Ozzy Osbourne would want you to treat them, but don't bite the head off a bat. That's a little extreme. But Guardians, go get some bats. I'm out of here, guys. You guys have a good one.